Hey everyone! So, as most of you know, I've been doing this audio thing for quite some time now, and I've met a lot of people in this industry. And the one thing that keeps coming up over and over again from engineer to engineer is how bands go out of their way to completely fuck up their tracks when they send them out for professional mixing. It seems like they've got some perverse desire to make the mix engineer's life a living hell. Not only by having him edit the living shit out of a terrible performance by the band's bass player, but by having him spend countless hours deciphering what track goes where on a 12-song album with an average of 48 tracks per song. If you are considering sending out your tracks to be mixed by a professional, stop what you're doing and pay attention. This is going to save your engineer a lot of grief, and you probably more than a couple of angry phone calls. This is how to prepare your tracks for professional mixing. Okay, back in 2009, I was fortunate enough to get to work with Fredrik Nordstrom and Henrik Ud on an album by a band called Betrayer. I produced and those guys mixed. And they had this wonderful system for keeping track of everything so the dicking around factor would be kept to an absolute minimum and they could focus on getting the job done. Now, I've used this system ever since, but I've also got a lot of input from other engineers and refined it. This is about as close to cross-platform compatible as it gets. It doesn't matter if you're on Pro Tools, Logic, Sonar, Reaper, or anything else. It should work on any system. Number 1, number your tracks. When labeling your tracks, start with numbers like 01 kick, 02 snare, 03 snare bottom, 04 overhead left, that sort of thing. Drummers, please go look up what comes after 04. But what if my DAW already has track numbers? It doesn't matter. We're setting up an export system here. Number your fucking tracks, you'll see why very soon. Start with 01, not 1. Number 2, fuck Mike, Steve, and Dave. This one is fucking insane. If you're labeling your tracks, make sure to label them for the instrument that they fucking represent, not who fucking played it. The guy you are sending your tracks to has no fucking clue who played what. Labeling your tracks Mike, Steve, and Dave is simply the dumbest fucking thing you can do. Congratulations, you just made your bass player look smart. Again, we're trying to make the mix engineer's job easy. It might be a good idea to tell them what instrument is on a track. If you named your tracks after the person performing or left it blank, please go find a mirror and slap yourself. That is from every mix engineer on the planet. Number 3, same track numbers and names for each song, and make notes. What this means is if track 01 is kick on your first song, then it should be the same for all the rest of the songs. Don't put the kick drum on track 35 in another song. Stay consistent. And you should include a text file mapping out the tracks for each song, and label whether they're consistent from song to song or unique. That way, all your drums, bass, guitars, leads, and whatnot can have the same mix techniques applied from song to song. It avoids guesswork. Certain songs might have more vocals, extra leads, keys, what have you. Just label them in your notes as unique. Just make sure your consistent tracks all wind up on the same track numbers. Number 4, make sure you have crossfades in place for every single edit. I got this one from a few other engineers. Apparently Pro Tools has an issue with crossfades. The last time I worked with it a few years back, yeah, I thought the crossfade system was abysmally slow, and I figured they would have fixed it by now. Maybe not. Either that or it's just a simple $3,000 upgrade for the fix. Anyway, if you're running Reaper, it really isn't an issue, and I can't say the same for any other DAW, but if you do have a lot of edits in your project, please make sure they are properly crossfaded. You don't want to be sending your mix engineer clicks and pops that he has to track down. Again, this is just saving a lot of time. Number 5, dry tracks. If you are tracking electric stringed instruments, use a direct box and take dry tracks directly off the pickups alongside the mic'd up amp tracks. If you're tracking to an amp sim, chances are you're already doing it. Regardless, this is an absolute must. This is your safety net when it comes to guitar tone. A dry track allows the mix engineer to reamp a guitar sound if needed. But I already like my guitar sound, and that's fine, but having the option to reamp is just a smart way to work. Because even if you like your tone, your mix engineer might be able to come up with something you might like even better. Personally, I won't even touch a project if there aren't any dry tracks. Because at this point, it's a fucking no-brainer. You can get yourself a top-of-the-line Countryman DI for only $180 US, and it will last you a lifetime. Stop making excuses and just fucking do it. Number 6, consolidate your tracks. What that means is that all of your tracks start at the beginning of the session, 0, 0, 0. That way, they're all nice, solid tracks, and there is absolutely no guesswork as to where they fit in the timeline. Now, they don't have to all end at the same time, that's just wasting space. Look through your DAW, it probably has some kind of consolidation feature. If it doesn't, your DAW sucks, go get a real one. If you export your tracks without consolidating and expect your mix engineer, who might not be using the same DAW as you, to piece your project back together by sheer guesswork, please go find that mirror again and punch yourself in the face. Once again, that's with love from every mix engineer on the planet. Number 7, once consolidated, export. Just make sure to export all of the tracks for your song. That's a big help. The standard is 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz, which is what you should be tracking at anyway. Please export to WAV format. This debate was settled long ago. Remember, the only tracks that should be exported as stereo are probably keyboard tracks. Overheads, rooms should probably be exported as dual mono, so the mix engineer can control the stereo field as he sees fit. Do not export everything to stereo tracks. Just don't do it. That's a total rookie mistake that drives everybody absolutely fucking insane. Just stop that shit right now. Don't fucking do it, or you'll be making another trip to the mirror and it will be even less pleasant than the last time. Number 8, tempo maps. It is very important that you have accurate tempo maps for each of your songs. That means the tempo and time signature changes are correctly mapped. Export these as a MIDI file alongside your WAV files. It's usually a good idea to include markers in these as well. I've got one friend in particular who becomes very annoyed when he doesn't get markers. If you guys think I'm tough, you should try working with this dude, seriously. These point out the song's arrangement, you know, the intro, verse, chorus, solo, all that shit. It doesn't take much effort to put these in, and they take a lot of guesswork out for the mix engineer. What's that you say? Your band didn't track to a metronome? I thought you wanted a professional project. Amateur hour's over. Step the fuck up and learn how to play to a metronome, kids. Number 9, don't put all your songs into one project file, you dumb motherfucker. Seriously, do not do this. Export each song into its own folder. Number the songs too, just like you would the tracks. That way we know how the record fits together. Number 10, decide who's editing and if alternate takes are needed. It should be decided well ahead of time who is editing. If you're expecting your mix engineer to edit your drums, you'd better ask him first. A number of mix engineers want to do just that, mix. And they don't want to sit there and go through alternate takes to figure out what works. So ask ahead of time, and if you're doing the edit, decide on what takes to keep and don't include the alternate takes. It'll just slow down the process. At the very least, start a dialogue on the subject with your mix engineer and find out his expectations before you send him anything. If he expects completely edited songs, you'd better give him those. Same thing if you're using pitch correction. All right, that should spell it out pretty clearly. Let me show you what happens here. I've exported this out of Reaper and I'm going to import it into SAW Studio. Watch what happens. Everything drops into place perfectly lined up, and because we've numbered the tracks, everything loads up on the proper track number as intended. Doing a little bit of homework here can save your mix engineer a whole lot of grief. Hope this helped, guys. See you next time.